कृपया भवसागरपारं तव जलममलं येन निपीतं परमपदं खलु तेन गृहीतं मातर्गङ्गे त्वय्यो भक्तः किल तं द्रष्टुं नयमशक्तः पतितोद्धारिणि जाह्नवी गङ्गे खण्डितगिरिवरमण्डितभङ्गे भीष्मजननि हे मुनिवरकन्ये पतितनिवारिणि त्रिभुवनगन्ये कल्पलतामिव फलदां लोके प्रणमति यस्त्वां न पतति शोके।
ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। प्रणम्य रामाभिधमात्मधीपदम् जगत्प्रसूतिस्थितिसंयमायनम् तदात्मकान् शङ्करपूर्वकान् गुरून् मयोपदेशार्थविभाग उच्यते। In the passage 105, यह तो असंहत स्वभावस्य कर्ण अनुपादने कर्तृत्व न उपपद्यते। That in case of the self, who is Kutastha Nitya Chaitanya, Kutastha changeless, Nitya eternal Chaitanya, the consciousness, Asamata, it transcends everything. It is the transcendental reality, therefore cannot be part of what is the Vyavaharika Satta, meaning this body, sense organs, mind, all of these enjoys what reality? The Vyavaharika Satta, the objective reality. Whereas consciousness which manifests through this enjoys the Paramadika Satta, absolute reality. This is what we have to keep in mind. And therefore there cannot be any association between the two. There is no association. So this body is merely a place of manifestation of this consciousness. But it does not contain consciousness. Consciousness is not confined to body. Although it looks as though the consciousness and body enjoy the same degree of reality as though, Because the body possesses consciousness, therefore they are of the same degree of reality. So it may create the notion that consciousness is united with body, mind, sense complex. But it cannot and does not have to. The point is, in order to enliven this body, because the body is enlivened, therefore we feel that the consciousness has the same reality as the body. So Vedanta explains that the consciousness gets reflected in the body. That's how enlivening takes place. Just as the water in a bucket is not illumined by nature, but it is the reflection of the sun that illumines that water, and thus the water gains the capacity to illumine a dark room. So also consciousness enlivens the intellect or the subtle body, which in turn enlivens the gross body. So as far just as the sun is up there, unconnected with the bucket and reflection and everything, so also Atma is unconnected, asangohim, unconnected. The sun is not part of the bucket and water and the reflection, etc. So Atma is not part of anything. Asamhata svabhavasya. Atma is asamhata, not a part of the assembly, not assembled, not part of the aggregate. And it itself is attributeless, formless, partless. Because then alone consciousness can be nitya. It is nitya or kutastha, changeless, that can only be if it is niravaya, partless. Because if consciousness considers parts, then parts can always separate any time, it cannot be changeless, it cannot be eternal. So it has to be partless, formless. So how can it get connected with anything anyway? To connect with something, you should have some form or some attributes, which consciousness devoid of whatever cannot be connected with anything, cannot be part of anything. Therefore, karana anupadane. It cannot reach out to something and pick up something like a carpenter can take up the tools and that's how perform his activities. Atma or consciousness cannot do that. Kartrutvam na upadyate. Therefore, kartrutvam, doership in the self or consciousness, na upadyate, is not tenable, is not reasonable, is not logical. Iti karanam upadayam. So there is no kartrutva in Atma. For Atma to do something, it must require some tool, some mind, sense organ, which it has to pick up, possess, acquire. Then only it can do something. The carpenter can do something only when he possesses the tools. Until then he cannot do anything. But to pick up the tool or possess the tool and acquire the tool also is an action. For that he requires karana. But carpenter has hands, etc. Therefore, it can pick up a tool, but Atma doesn't have hands and legs. So how can he pick up anything? So picking up itself is an action which itself requires hands and legs, which is an action, and that's how infinite regression. Swatantre anavastha apariharya saditi. Atma is swatantra, independent, self-existing, self-shining, attributeless. Then there is no way that we can ever arrive at kartrutvam or doership in Atma, that Atma does something. You can never in any way arrive at that logically. Now continuing. So yesterday we discussed from the Brahma Sutra, Karta Shastrarthavatvat. So the Vedas accept that Atma is Karta. Or tentatively would accept that Atma is Karta or doer. Shastrarthavatvad, because Shastra enjoins actions. Brahmano yajeta, a Brahmana should perform this duty, this yaga. Should perform daily Agnihotradi karma, all of these enjoinments, instructions or commands are given. That can be given only Brahmana is able to do, therefore Atma is Karta in that sense. Karta, Shastrarthavatvat. From one standpoint, you accept that the Jivatma is a Karta, because then only Shastra or the Veda, the Karma Kanda, will become meaningful, purposeful. Yatha chaksha ubhayatha. But just as a takshan or a carpenter is ubhayatha, sometimes is doing, sometimes is not doing. By himself, a carpenter is not a carpenter. He is a person. He becomes carpenter when he picks up the tools and does things with the tools, then he is called a carpenter. So when the carpenter then picks up his tools, at that time he is a carpenter. When he gives, then he suffers, poor fellow, meaning that he has to exert himself to earn a livelihood. Moment his day's work is over, he leaves all the tools, bundles them up, I guess in a box, tool box, and goes home and relaxes. So also the waking and dream stage is Atma, as though picks up all the tools of the body, mind, sense complex and does all kinds of things in samsara and gets totally exhausted. In deep sleep state, he gives up all the tools and then relaxes in his own true nature. Ubhayatha. So Atma, just as a takshan or a carpenter is Karta as well as Akarta. Similarly, Atma also is Karta as well as Akarta. So, because of ignorance, he identifies with body, mind, sense complex, therefore he thinks that I am a Karta, and therefore he is enjoined to do things. So, Vedas enjoin or command the Jivatma to do things. As far as the Mimamsakas are concerned, they want him to do things in order for his well-being, so that he can do some good actions and earn punya, and that is how he can gain happiness. Vedanta says that the Vedas command the Jiva-Atma to perform action, not to perpetuate the action, but to ultimately make him free from the need to perform action. That is the purpose of action. This is where the difference is in terms of interpretation of the purport of the Vedas. Because then only Upanishad, which is the section giving knowledge that Atma is Kutastha, Nitya Kutastha Chaitanya, that can be only when a person is now dedicated to pursuit of knowledge. That knowledge doesn't take place just like that. Inasmuch as I have been thinking that I am a karta, bhokta, etc. from time beginningless, that knowledge that I am a karta, bhokta doesn't take place right away. Even if intellectually I understand that, still to assimilate that takes a long time. Therefore, it is a dedicated pursuit. Tad vijnanartham sa guru meva vigachet. For that knowledge, this person should go to the Guru and expose himself to the teaching. And then realize that what he takes himself to be is not what he is altogether a different entity. Understand that, assimilate that. Now that has to be a dedicated pursuit. That cannot be accompanied with the duties, because the duties become a distraction to this pursuit. And therefore, a person has to give up all the kartavya karma also. Then only Upanishad will become meaningful. Upanishad is Jnana Kanda, which, imparts knowledge, will become meaningful. Then Shastrarthavatvat. The Karma Kanda Shastra can become meaningful or purposeful only when Atma is Karta. Jnana Kanda Shastra can become purposeful only when Atma is a Karta. Vaisa. So this is how Vedanta looks at the whole scripture Veda. But Mimamsaka thinks that no, Atma is Karta and Bhokta. And when he performs Agnihotra, the karma here in this world, in this life, then one who performs the action Karta now becomes Bhokta, becomes the recipient of the rewards of what he has done here. And he enjoys those pleasures in heaven. For them to justify that heaven or Swarga is a goal of life, and Swarga is a realm where this individual, this person enjoys the happiness which is unpolluted happiness. But there is an enjoyment of happiness nevertheless. For enjoyment of the happiness there must be an enjoyer. For Bhoga there must be a Bhokta. So therefore they accept that Atma is Karta Bhokta, it's the nature of Atma. And therefore he has to do things. Now, even if Atma is a Karta, let us say, in the arguments up to this point we said Atma has to be a Karta. But now the Mimamsakas say that even though Atma may be one Karta, he can be impelled into action. So looking at the Tika, Tarhi Asvatantra eva Karishyati Atma iti Karma Mimamsakamatam Ashankya Pratyaha Nachakriya iti. If Atma is Swatantra, Akarta, the Swatantra Atma can be made Partantra, can be impelled, compelled. Aswatantra Atma may be Kutastha, etc., etc., Aswatantra. He is not independent. Actually, the rule is Swatantra Karta. Karta is always Swatantra. But this Atma is Aswatantra. So, Swarga Kamo Jyotishtomena Yajeta. Well, we'll come to that anyway. So, Aswatantra Atma Karma Karishyati. Atma can be impelled into performing action even though person himself doesn't do. You can always impel him, order him, command him to do. So, the Vedas command the Atma to do things. Therefore, Atma performs his actions asvatantra. Even though so dependently, he is not independent. Karyate hivashah karma. Everybody is made to perform the action. So Atma is made to perform action. Even though he may be swatantra, he is a karta. But he is not aswatantra, he is not swatantra, he is aswatantra, meaning that he can be made to perform the action. Iti mimamsakamatam. So then the text says, Nacha kriya eva atmanam karayate anirvartirtayaha swarupa abhavat. Nacha kriya eva atmanam karayate. Kriya means an action cannot in fact impel the Atma to perform the action, because an action requires the agent of action. A kriya requires karta to begin with, otherwise kriya cannot take place. Now, for Atma to be impelled into action, If he is impelled and becomes karta, then he performs kriya. But kriya cannot be there unless action is performed by the karta, understand? So, anirvartitayaha kriyayaha. Anirvartita means that which is not yet performed. The kriya is not there right now because karta is not there. You say that Atma can be impelled to perform an action and he becomes karta because he is made to do something. Even if he is made to do something, then he does something that is called kriya. But that kriya comes only when the karta is there to begin with, and Atma is not yet karta, you are impelling him to be karta. You follow? So how can kriya impel him to do something when kriya itself is not there? You understand this? So I am a speaker. They say that no, you can be made to speak. The speech can make you speak. The speech can make you speak. But unless I speak, there is no speech. The non-existent speech cannot make me speak. Anirvartita, not perform, not yet existent kriya cannot make Atma perform the action. So simple, but then the Tika makes it pretty common. So, Swarupa Abhavat, Kriya has not come into being, and therefore that Kriya which is not in the being cannot make Atma do something. So now Tikakara says, Kriya Shabdah किम प्रयत्न वचनः तद्व्याप्य धात्वर्थ वचनो वा तत्साध्य अपूर्व वचनो वा. What is kriya? What is action? Kim prayatna vachana? That prayatna, effort that you make, is it called kriya? Tadvyapya dhatvartha vachana. Or the dhatu. See, for example, there is this word called yajayata. Means it is the vidhiling, one should, vidhanam is there, one should perform an action, one should perform a yaga. So now, there is an action of performing the yaga, that kriya. So what do you mean by kriya? Now this yajayata, the dhatu, the verbal root is yaj. Means that is in terms of deva pujanam, sangatikaranam, dhanam, etc. And all these meanings are there. Deva pujanam, worshipping deva. The yaj means to worship. So, yajeta, that yaj is the verbal root to which you apply the pratyaya, ta. That becomes yajeta. This is vidhiling. Yajeta means one should perform the puja. If yaj means puja. Those days puja was by way of worshipping the fire, devatas through fire. So there was dhatvartha. Dhatu is yaj. So when you say that kriya, is it the dhatu, the yaj, is it what you mean? To perform? Prepare. Or, no sorry, it prayatna vachana. Is it actually performance of yaga is what you mean by kriya? The dhatvartha vachana. Or it means the root yaj. Is it what you mean by kriya? Tat sadhya apurva vachano va. Yajeta means one should perform. So that ta which you add is what is impelling factor. So that is called the, karaniya, that it impels, makes you do things. One should perform yaga. That should perform comes from that letter ta. It's called suffix. Yaj is the verbal root to which you apply suffix ta and you have the final form yajeta in whistling. And so that suffix impels. Suffix has the force of impelling one should perform yaga. is not simply performing yaga that is important. So in Yajeta, there are three opinions of what is most important. According to Mimamsakas, the suffix is most important part of a verb. Yajeta, the ta is most important. For Vaiyakaranas, the yaj, the dhatu, verbal root is most important. For Nayayikas, the yaga karta is most important. Karta is important. For the Mimamsaka, the suffix is important. For the Vaiyakaranas, the verbal root is important. For the Nayayikas, the agent of action is important. For Vedanta, then also agent of action is important. Agent decides whether I want to do or not. Nobody can compel me to do something unless I want to do it. This is what Vedanta believes. But Mimamsakas believe that no. That force of ta, the impelling, that is most important. That's what makes a person do things. So when do people perform their activities or their duties? Why should I wake up early morning and do a snanam and all the sandhya vandanam, this, that, and that? Why should I want to do that? Because I am made to do. What makes me do? The Vedas enjoin that I must perform the action. So there is a force of that suffix pratyaya is most important. So Mimamsakas believe that the Vedas enjoin the human being to perform various duties, and therefore the person is made to do actions by the impelling, of the Veda. So therefore, by kriya they mean the effort in terms of performing yaga, or the rule yaj is important there, or the impelling force of that suffix ta, is it what is important? That is called niyoga. Apurva here. Apurva niyoga. Niyoga means enjoining. Injunction. So what do you mean by kriya? Which one of these three in fact impels the Atma to do things? Kriya can have three meanings. Iti vikalpya adyo pratyaha anirvartitaya iti. These three vikalpa, the three options are there. Adya means what? That first two. The first two are now rejected or refuted by saying anirvartitaya. Kriya means effort is not taken place. How can it make the person do things? Or dhatvartha, yaj also, that yaga also is not there yet. So yaga is then, doing is important, yaga is important, yaga also is not yet there, dhatvartha is what? Yaj means the yaga is not yet there. So that yaga also cannot make this person do things. So the Tika says, Nahi swayam asiddha param sadha iti nyayat ityartha. Swayam asiddha, the one himself is non-existing, cannot make somebody do something. The Prime Minister will tell me, where is he? If he is not here, what is he going to do? Police will, where is the police? A non-existent police cannot do anything. So non-existent yaga or non-existent effort cannot make this person, compel the person to do something. Swayam asiddha, one who himself is not yet come into being, how can he accomplish anything? So that kriya in terms of prayatna or yaga has not yet come into being, so it cannot compel the person. Then, tritiyevi kim tannishpadyam niyogakhyam apurvam vivakshitam uta purva nirvrittam dharma dharmakhyam. Alright? So that sadhya. Sadhya means what? The apurva which takes place as a result of an action. So as the Mimamsakas explain, when you perform an action, dharma or adharma, one of the two kinds of action can be performed. So dharma generates punya and adharma generates papa. But I perform dharma or a virtuous action now. The result comes later, at a later time, later place and later conditions. The karma is already performed, it is gone. Kratau supte jagrat. Kratu is already supta, meaning is already done. And the result comes in heaven or some place, time, even in this life also. And in future time, some other place, other conditions. So Mimamsaka say that what is the joining link between the action you perform now, the result that comes later, what there must be a joining link, connecting link. Like if you have employed a gardener and the gardener comes every day and there is a register in which his presence is noted. Some biometrics, there something is there. That at the end of the month when you give him the salary of how many days he came and so on and so forth, that's a link. The tick mark is the link. Similarly, when you perform an action, an apurva is created, a subtle effect is created of a punya or papa, which remains in the account of this performer, and then when the time comes, it fructifies into the result, outcome of sukha dukkha. So, Tannishpadyam niyogakhyam apurvam vakshitam. What do you mean by the apurva? Apurva that will take place as a result of performance of an action, is that what you mean? Oh, niyoga also means the enjoining or command. So the command is what you mean by the apurva, which is what impels a person. Veda says, perform your duty. That's a command. Is it what makes him do? Or the apurva that is generated by this effort, is it what makes him do? But apurva is not taken place. Uta pura nivrittam dharma dharmakyam. In the past, this person may have performed dharma action and generated punya papa. They now fructify. So what makes this person do things? My karma makes me do things. People say, why did I do something, Swamiji? My karma, my graha, my planets, etc. But my karma. What karma? Punya or papa? How did punya papa come? On account of the action I performed in the past. So, purva nivrittam dharma dharmakyam. Is it dharma dharma, punya papa, which is the apurva or the subtle effect which was generated by actions I performed in the past? So is it the past action that makes this person do things? Is it the command that makes him do things? Or is it his own past action which is fructifying at this moment? That's what makes him do things. You see this? Then the Tikagara continues. Adyaha purvokta dushana anuvrittehe. It cannot be apurva generated by the effort because it is not yet taken place. We are examining what makes him do things. When he is not yet done anything, there is no apurva created. Therefore, a non-existent apurva cannot make him do things. Purvokta dushan anuvritte. What is purva dushanam? Swayam asiddha na param sadhayati. That apurva which has not yet taken place cannot make him do things. So then, purva nirvrittam, then apurva or the karma that is performed in the past, that is what makes him do things. Nacha lingade. Lingade actually is not linga, it's lingade. Shravana samanantaram pratiyamana akaram pravartayate atmanam iti vachyam. So when lingade shravana samanantaram, so moment you say, hey, do this, at that time, that is what actually If you call that apurva niyoga or enjoyment, so as soon as I do this, samanantara, immediately that happens, simultaneously that happens. Pratiyamana akaram pravartayati, is that what impels this person to do things? It is na vacham, that you cannot say. Why? Pratiti kale yadi asti iti buddhi tada siddhatva pratitehe nakare trutvam. When somebody commands you at that time, pratiti kale, yadi asti, that niyoga is there, that command is already there. If this is what you understand, it is already there. What is already there cannot make you do things. Siddhavat pratitehe, it's already there, and therefore, so then command is there, injunction is there, impelling is already there. So you can't be impelled by something that is already there. Or further, nasti iti pratito vandya sutavat nakare trutvam. When this niyoga is given, it's not there, then also what is not there cannot make it, like Vandya Putra. Like son of a Vandya cannot make you, non-existing, cannot make you do things. Sadharana, still this same thing is discussed now, niyogakyam apurvam vivakshitam. The niyoga, that is called apurva. Is it what meant by our kriya, which is what impels you to do? Sadharana pradita ucha pakshe nivritti sambhavat na prerakatva siddhi iti abhipretya dvitiyam utthapayati. So pratiti can be, it is there. It is not there, it has taken place, it is not there, or sadharana pratiti, it is there. But pakshe nivritti sambhavat, what is there also cannot be there. Paksha means as an alternative. Na prerakatva siddhi. So the niyoga cannot in any way become the preraka. It is already pre-existing, not existing. Or if it comes into it exists, then also it may not, it may go, what comes also may go away, in which case that cannot be certainly the preraka or impelling force. Iti abhipretya dvitiyam utthapayati. So when Vashyakara or when the author says anirvartitayaha kriyayaha swarupa bhavat, that kriya in terms of effort that has not taken place, in terms of the yaga that has not taken place, in terms of apurva that has not yet taken place, in terms of a command is already there, is not come into being, or is there in general, which is there in general may not be there also. In that case, that command also cannot be a certain element to. So kriya means that command, or apurva, the result, none of them also can compel you as a rule. Then purva nivrittam dharma dharmakyam, is it the past karma that impels this person to do things? That's the dvitiyam utthapayati. The second paksha was uta purva nivrittam dharma dharmakyam. Is it the previously performed dharma, that apurva, is it what makes a person do? Meaning that when I do something, is it my past, the result of past karma that makes me do things? Then for that, utthapayati, the text says, atha anyat atmanam uvetya kriyam karayati iti chet na. Anyat means that past karma. Atman upetya, now that past karma, which karma I perform, now that thing lands on me. Because it is time has come for to fructify, therefore, Atman upetya, that our result comes now, past karma, reaches me and kriyam karayati. It is my prarabdha, Swami, that I did this, and things like that. So, is that prarabdha, that past karma, apurva, that's what comes to you and then makes you do things? If this is what you mean, that also cannot be. So, now the Tika says, Yadapi anyata purva siddham. So even though that karma, or the result of the karma called apurva, is purva siddham, you have performed karma in the past, so is already existing. Tata achetanam chetanam va. Tat achetanam, that apurva or karma phala, is it a conscious, is unconscious entity or a conscious entity? Vedanta says unconscious entity, therefore it cannot do anything. You must require conscious entity to give the result, so Ishvara is required. These fellows don't accept and don't see the need of Ishvara. Mimamsakas do not see the need of Ishvara. That is why Krato Supte Jagat Tvamsi Phala Yoge Kartumatam. So Ishvara is established by that. People don't look at the karma phala and then do things. They look at the Ishvara performing karma. You are going to give me the result. So therefore, when the bank gives me loan, it doesn't look at me, it looks at my guarantor, So Ishvara is guarantor. That's why Vedantin says the conscious entity called Ishvara is what gives the karma phala and not this apurva and this is inert. But for it to give karma phala, it should be chetan. So chetanam or chetanam va. Adye na preraka. If it is achetanam, then I think it is different. Chetanam and achetanam, that is what it should be. But anyway, let us see. Adye na prerakatva sambhavaha. If apurva is achetanam, then there is no way that it can impel you. So na, Bhashyakara said, na. Atha anyat atmapetya kriyam karayati. If that apurva lends on the Atma, comes to Atma and makes him the past karma, makes him do, that also cannot be so. Then the text says, Anyasya Svatasiddhatva Avishatvadi Anupattehe. Anyasya, anything other than Atma, something comes to you and makes you do things, like apurva, like past karma. Anyasya Svatasiddhatva Avishatvadi Anupatte. Anything other than Atma cannot be Svatasiddha. Meaning, Atma alone is self-existing. Everything other than Atma depends upon Atma for its existence. Atma is only subject. Everything else is an object. Atma is only conscious and everything else is unconscious. So, Svatasiddhatva Avishatvadi. Then says the Tika, Adi Shabdat Prerakatva Graha. Nothing else can prompt, nothing else can preraka, means that which makes you do things, causes you to do things. Because everything else is dependent upon Atma. Nothing is self-existing. Nothing is conscious. And therefore nothing can be preraka or nothing can impel. Anyasya Svatasiddhatva Avishayatvadi Anupatte. Avishayatva Prerakatva Anupatte is not tenable. So the Tika says, Tathacha Atmanaha Kartrutve Sati Labdasvarupasya Adrushtasya Prerakatva Siddhihi Tatsiddhau Anya Siddhihi Iti Anyonya Ashrayaha Iti Bhavaha. Now suppose that Atma has performed the action. That's the Atmana Kartrutva. Suppose Atma performs action. Then you say that, hey, because that Apurva is not a seen thing. It is adrushtam. What you call punya or past karma is something adrushtam. So how do you know it is there in the first place? Oh, that you did this. The fact that you performed the action means that that karma made you perform the action. You follow? But how do you arrive at the karma was there? Because you performed the action. Therefore you say that, hey, karma must be there, which made you perform the action. So existence of apurva is established only when you do things. But you cannot do things unless that apurva exists. Tat siddhau anya siddhete. So how do you know that apurva did? How do you know past karma did? Hey, you did it. So you infer that past karma is there because I did it. So the existence of past karma becomes established because I did it. But you say that makes me do. So only if that is there I can do. So that is required for me to do. And for me to do requires for that to be there. It's called anyonyasaya, which is a defect. And so, what is it? Achetanam, chetanam va. Understand that the two pakshas were there. Achetanam cannot be the cause here. So chetanam now. Dvitiyam pratyaha. The second paksha chetanam is now that apurva is achetanam, then it won't work. Is chetanam, then that paksha is being refuted here. Nahi iti. The text says Nahi atmanah anyata achetanam vastu swapramanakam drushtam. Anyat achetanam vastu. This Bhashyakara is achetanam vastu. Tika says dvitiyam. So achetanam chetanam va or chetanam achetanam va. Bhashya nahi atmanyat achetanam vastu. Anything other than Atma is, because Atma is only chetana vastu, anything other than Atma is object, dushyam, jadam, achetanam. Sapramanakam dushtam. So what is achetanam? What is unconscious cannot make itself known by itself unless it is illumined. Like a pot cannot make itself the object of my knowledge. If I turn away, the pot cannot make itself the object of my knowledge. That turn towards the pot and illumine that pot, the consciousness reaching out through mind and eyes, illumines that pot, then only the existence of the pot becomes established. So pot does not have the freedom to reveal itself, it must be illumined. And therefore, Atman anyat achetana vastu, anything other than Atma, which achetanam, unconscious, swapramanagam nadrushtam, it cannot swapramanagam, meaning that it cannot be pramanam by itself, it cannot reveal itself. It has to be revealed by anya pramanam. Itself cannot be pramanam, cannot be self-revealing, has to be revealed by something else. So explains here Tikakara. Adrushtam achetanam atma anyatvat shabdadivat ityartha. So achetanam is a paksha, adrushtam achetanam. What is adrushtam? That karma phala. Achetanam is unconscious, atma anyatvat, because it is other than atma. So anything other than atma is achetanam. Vastu swapramanakam na drushtam says swapramanakam swatasiddham iti yavata. So therefore, that apurva cannot exist on its own, cannot reveal itself, cannot exist on its own. So its present can't be determined by itself. Ataha swasatta sfurtyoho atmasapeksasya kutah tat prerakatva sambhavah iti bhavah. Ataha, therefore, swasatta sfurtyoho Atma Sapekshasya. So that which depends upon Atma for its Satta and Spurti. Like a part depends upon Atma for it to be and to reveal itself. Satta and Spurti always go together. That the part is because the part shines, Spurti. Part shines because part Satta, Spurti, Asti, Bhati always go together. Swasatta Spurtiyo, like a part. Like here Apurva, which depends upon Atma for it to exist, unless for it to shine. How can it influence Atma to do something? How can a dependent entity do influence something which is independent? A part element is illumined by a lamp, part cannot illuminate the lamp. So Apurva is because Atma is, Apurva shines because Atma shines. So that which depends on Atma for it to be and for it to shine, how can it impel Atma to do something? Atma Sapekshasya Kutah Tat Prerakatva Sambhavaha. How can that Apurva, which totally depends upon Atma, can impel Atma to do something? And this applies to everything. Atmanya means what? Everything other than Atma. Apurva is one of the things, but the whole world also falls in that category. So Dika says, Shabdadina Atma Sapekshasya Siddhikatvam Purvoktam Smarayati. Purvoktam in passage 77. If you want to go back to that passage 77, यो ही बौद्ध प्रत्यय सधात्वर्थ विक्रियात्मक आत्मन उपलब्धि आभास फलावसान हिति. At that time we are discussing how the perception takes place. Is Atma Upalabdha the perceiver in the primary sense? Because Upalabdha means is an action, is a kriya, which implies action. So if Atma is Upalabdha or the perceiver, then he must be performing the act of perceiving, then he can be called a perceiver. If he performs the act of perceiving, then he is Vikriyatmaka, then he is changing, then we cannot be Kutastha. So on one hand you say Atma is Upalabdha, perceiver, and you say Atma is Kutastha. How can these two? So now he is just taking Vyakaranam. Already established that Atma is Kutastha, but he says you call him Upalabdha. Upalabdha means Upalabdha plus Trush Pratyaya, and the word Trush Pratyaya means the locus of Kriya of Upalabdhi. That's the word Upalabdha implies that Atma is the locus of the act of perceiving. And one who is performing action, how can we Kutastha? He is Vikriyatmaka. Therefore here the text explains the author that we call him perceiver only in a secondary sense. So yohi bauddha pratyaya. So when perception takes place, like of a part, what happens? As we said, the consciousness enlivening the mind, right through the eyes, context the part, and a ghatakar vritti takes place called bauddha pratyaya, a cognition that takes place in the buddhi. That is where Vikriya is. So their mind undergoes a change to take the form of the Ghata. So in the mind or Buddhi, that is where Vikriya takes place. So in the perceiver, two things are involved. The consciousness is involved and Vikriya is involved. So here we are explaining that consciousness is one place and Vikriya is in a different place. Vikriya is in the Buddhi, which is where the Pratyaya, the cognition, Ghatakar vritti takes place. Then what is the role of Atma? Atmana upalabdhi abhasa phalavasana. Even that Ghatakar vritti can be known only when the Atma becomes reflected in that Ghatakar vritti, then the vritti shines. So only role that Atma has is that Atma gets reflected in the vritti. So where the change or Vikriya is in the vritti, and still without Atma, cognition cannot take place because that vritti has to be eliminated. So Atma illumines that vritti by way of being reflected in the vritti. As you said, the sun reflects in the bucket of water, and that's how makes the water illumined, and that's how the darkness is removed. Iti upalabdhi shabdena upashariyate. Therefore, upalabdhi abhasa phalavasana. Phala is a reflection here. And so that Bauddha Pratyaya, because it is the receiver of the reflection, and that's how it illumines the path. Therefore, even that Bauddha Pratyaya is, which is where Vikriya takes place, is superimposed upon Atma, and Atma is called Upalabdha. Because Bauddha Pratyaya also cannot Upalabdha because it is unconscious. Atma cannot Upalabdha because it is a Vikriya Atma, changeless. So combination of the two is what is called Upalabdha. As far as Atma is concerned, Upalabdhi is of the nature of consciousness. What this meant is that for a part to be known, it can be known only when the reflection of Atma takes place in the Ghatakara vritti. So all the objects of the world can reveal their existence only when they become the recipient of the reflection of Atma. See, this is what was said earlier. So, smarayati. Shabdadinam atmasapeksha siddhikatvam. Only where Atma is, when the Atma imparts this satta and sphurti to a ghatapata, then ghatapata can reveal themselves. So, atmasapeksha siddhikatvam. Shabdadinam, objects such as sound, etc., or part, etc., Atma siddhikatvam, that they are there, or that they reveal themselves is Atma Sapeksha, is only dependent upon Atma. What was said earlier, Smarayati, Shabdadi. So, the text says, Shabdadi sarvam eva avagati phalavasana pratyaya pramitam siddham syad. Shabdadi sarvam, all of this, so the universe beginning from sound, etc. Shabdadi, because Atman Akasha Sambhuta, so Akasha is the first element, of which Shabda is a quality, so you can say Akashadi or Shabdadi. The universe is beginning from Shabda. Shabdadi Sarvameva, the whole universe beginning from Shabda. Avagati phalavasana pratyaya pramidam. That pratyaya, the ghatagara vritti of the cognition. Avagati phala. Avagati means consciousness. When consciousness gets reflected in that pratyaya, pratyaya is the cognition, but cognition also cannot reveal unless cognition is enlivened by the reflected consciousness. So avagati phalavasana. This is the role that Atma or Avagati plays, is that it gets reflected in that. That is its extent of involvement. In the whole process of perception, the involved Atma is that it gets reflected in that vritti by its very presence. Avagati phalavasana pratyaya pramitam. So that pratyaya, the cognition, which is enlivened by the reflection of the avagati or consciousness, that in fact establishes pramitam. That is what establishes the existence of Shabda or a part, etc. Siddham syad. So anything in the universe, you know it is there only when it is cognized, when a corresponding vritti takes place, and when that vritti is enlivened by the reflection of consciousness. Well, when vritti takes place, reflection is there automatically, so you don't have to make a separate effort for that. But vritti has to take place. And for that, pramana vyapara must take place. I must look at it. There must be indriya sannidhan, connection with the indriya and the object. So then the pratyaya takes place, and then that gets reflection, and then it shines, that illumines the object. So existence and illumination of all the things beginning of Shabda is all dependent upon Atma. None of them can exist on their own or reveal on their own. It's already done, it's already established. So Tika says, meaning that Apurva, all this is saying that Apurva also cannot establish its existence unless it is illumined by the Atma. So, therefore, Apurva that itself depends upon Atma for its Satta and Spurti. How can it impel Atma to do something? This was the idea. So, pre-existing Apurva, if it is conscious or unconscious, either way, it cannot become the impelling force. Because anyasya svata siddhatva, nothing can. Even if you imagine that Apurva is conscious, then also it cannot be self-existing and self-shining. So nothing can be conscious anyway. An unconscious thing always depends upon consciousness for its existence, satta and spurti. So Apurva, meaning the past result or past action, or so the Apurva dharma has so many meanings. Dharma means action that virtuous action you perform also is called dharma. The punya generated by that also is called dharma. The yaga performed also is called dharma. All of these are, in fact, as far as we are concerned, unconscious, and therefore they cannot make me do things. Mimamsaka say that they make you do things. Either it is enjoinment by the Vedas, do this, and that's why the person does. Or your past action makes you do things. In any case, a human being is made to do things. This is what Mimamsakas believe. So Atma is made to do things. So even if you prove that Atma is Swatantra, Atma is Akarta, even Akarta Atma also could be made to do things. That's what Mimamsakas say. So you cannot say Atma does not do things if Atma can be made to do things. Therefore, this discussion established that Atma cannot be made to do things by anything which is not into being as yet, or if it is there, it is unconscious, and therefore nothing can make Atma do things. So Atma is Swatantra. That is the Evam Mimamsaka Shanka Nirakruta. In this manner, the Mimamsaka Shanka, Kriya eva Atmanam Karayati, Kriya alone makes the Atma do, is Nirakruta, has been refuted in this manner. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutrabhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah. Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavad Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. ધન આપી દઈએ. હા આપી દો. ભાઈ જુઓ, ગઈકાલે લાલજી કાકાની તિથિ હતી એટલે એમાં દીકરાએ બધાને મને પ્રસાદ મોકલ્યો છે. બધાને આવી રહ્યો છે. અચ્છા, તો બધા પ્રસાદ લેતા લેતા પ્લીઝ એક્સેપ્ટ યોર પ્રસાદ ઓન ધ વે.